it's a bummer of a tour to have to take.
Here's the phone shoved in the
Yep.
couch.
Where Megan is right now is where we were hanging out the window just so we could breathe. Phone jammed in the couch where we were talking to 911.
I don't even know how this got there. Oh, here's a new toothbrush.
You can see here, bedroom relatively intact. Closet where our cats hid to escape the smoke, all survived. Elvis looking okay. And now for a trip out into the hallway. Oh yeah, yeah. Here's our front door. Very different story on the outside than it was on the inside. I don't know if you can get the door open. Yeah, I wouldn't sweat it right now. Here's the apartment where it all started. 1501. There you go. This is 2 doors away from the apartment I live in.
Marty, Jeff?
Lived in.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm on 15 and could use some wire nuts if you're in that vicinity.
As you can see, it's seen better days. Those boards were elevator doors.
Get a shot of the exit signs outside the door.
Like I was saying, let's focus on the shorts of the ground.
Oh, okay, I don't know if you can tell, but zoom in on it here. There's an exit sign. What's left of an exit sign? Walk down this way. Right here to the left is an 08 apartment. 01s and 08s were the worst hit. This apartment, 1505, 1504, 1503, relatively undamaged, considering. I don't think we could have been any luckier. Here's the stairwell. I tried to escape too, but wasn't going to happen at that time. We're walking over here. Right here at the door is where it started. Ran over towards the windows here, the one over this couch. Grabbed the phone to call 911. They told us to open the windows and stick our heads out so we could breathe. So up on the 15th floor, trapped by fire, here's what we saw. Here's the view outside my window. There's my van, double parked down in the street as a matter of fact. There's the parking lot where we usually park. Our 2 reserved spots on the end taken up by people who don't care, as usual. And this is what we had to look at, thinking it might be our only way out of this fire. Here's the view. We've watched other fires happen out this window before, but we never thought we'd actually be in one. We also spent much of the time looking at people above us, talking to them, trying to find out how everything was going, making sure they were okay. The person above us was terrified, screaming, but you can't blame him. We just thought it was all going to be destroyed. There's Meg with the disco ball. We also spent some time over at this window trying to yell down to the firemen who were down in the street. They came up in a cherry picker, as high as they could anyway. They couldn't get this high, but telling us not to jump in case we were thinking about it. But as you can see, we weren't thinking about it. All these streets were blocked off. Police, fire, helicopters, everything. Here about the back of the door. The door was closed, obviously. We weren't able to get out into the hallway. We had to keep the door closed. And the fire was scorching it, as you saw earlier. And eventually, when the firemen finally broke through, our door was on fire at one point, and they were spraying it down to keep the fire from coming into our apartment. And now I was standing right on the other side of the door, waving a flashlight through the peephole and banging on it to let them know that we were here, when all of a sudden it started, the water and steam that they were using to try to put out the fire came smashing through as they put it out. And it was spraying me, leaking down the inside of the door. You can see here some of the scorch marks from the flames right outside our door, and the dirty water from the firemen trying to put it out right here. So, a harrowing experience. It begins. We'll go down here and take a look. You guys don't mind if I take some shots, do you?
Let me get out of here so you don't break it then.
Oh, it's okay. That's all right. I just wanted to see. Because we lived in that apartment right there. Can I just poke my head and I won't go in?
You go right here, but don't truck back in on the apartment.
Yeah, probably doesn't really matter now, yeah. I know, unbelievable.
It is.
Unbelievable.
I can't believe it's a concrete building. It went up all the way to the 19th floor.
Oh, I know. If you stand out in the front.
I don't make it. I don't know who you've been talking to.
I heard that Tepper was the best paying organization in the country.
I don't know. It's the only one I've ever worked for.
How many years?
10.
All right.
I built 2 houses before that.
Here, when the fire started, I tried to make it out here to the stairwell. Of course, I couldn't even. This is the stairwell door right here. You can see it's not that far, but it was not going to happen. This whole hallway filled top to bottom with not just smoke, but smoke that was solid. The flashlight didn't shine through it. You could actually feel it as you were trying to walk. Here's another shot of where the stairway is in relation to my apartment. You can see it's not that far, but it was that night. Here's the other side of the stairwell door. Here's the stairs. When the smoke cleared and the firemen finally got us out of there, this is where we had to go down. 15 flights, mind you. 1 fatality in this fire, and this is where she was found. Right here in the stairwell. Not really the best place to go. shot of this already, I'm not exactly sure, but in case I didn't, I just wanted to have a record of this. You can see that at one point right here around the door, the flames were actually coming through the cracks in the door. But fortunately the firemen got there just in time, and you can see where they sprayed it with water. Water, of course, contaminated with smoke and soot and gunk and whatever else. And considering that, we were all pretty lucky. I just thought it would be good to get a shot, I don't know if we'll be able to see it or not, of the crane out the window. I'm not exactly sure what it's doing, but I'll tell you, when you're 15 floors up, it's a weird thing to see right outside. Whoever lived in here is pretty lucky too. Fire started right next door. Very lucky. Give you another shot of the cleanup progress over here where the fire started. It's coming along. I don't know how long it'll be till it's back to normal though. Back into our apartment here.
Do you want this?
There's Chris. Here, in case anybody's interested, these are all getting thrown away today. 10 years worth of computer and video game magazines. This here is Electronic Gaming Monthly, starting in 1991. Right over here is Game Pro. These are still having advertisements for Nintendo games in them. This was way, way before the Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64, any of those. Advertising the Turbo Graphics is still in there. The Sega Master System advertisements are still in there. Here's some more magazines I've got on the subject there, so it's a shame, but they're too difficult to move, and as you can see, the cats have peed on some of them, and it would just be better to get rid of them. But just as a record, I thought that I would let myself know how many I had. Maybe someday when I'm a millionaire, I can try to replace this collection. There's Meg taking a picture of the fire extinguisher that was never used.
No.
Instructor got me next to her.
Putting stuff down the trash chute. Her last box down the chute.
Christine and her favorite activity, throwing stuff down the trash chute.
You know,
Instructor
little
Guthrie
life I do
hanging out in
have.
the hallway.
You can see the door to that room isn't much better. Just going to take another trip around here and see. Here's the fire extinguisher. It always made me feel better, but as you can see, a lot of good
Why
it
did
did.
that idiot grab that?
Probably didn't know how to use it.
Because he was an
He didn't
idiot.
even knock on anybody's door.
We'll just take a walk around the hallway here, which I don't think I've done yet. It looks clean now. The day it happened, it didn't quite look like this. Here, I think we've already seen once, but here's the elevator doors, all boarded up, as you can see. There's the door, the board to the apartment where it all started. Exit sign, which I can guarantee you did not do any good. Smoke was so thick. Stairwell door, fire alarm. Some hanging metal stuff. And here we are coming back around. Another exit sign, which didn't do any good. There were no lights, no nothing, no how. As a matter of fact, you can see here on the bottom, just as it started to melt. So even if the lights were on, it probably wouldn't have mattered. This exit sign is right outside our door. Here's our door. Here's the exit sign. Melted just as bad, if not worse, as the other one. There it is. 1503. The apartment we almost died in. Well, today's Monday, The fire happened early Friday morning, 1:30 a.m. Friday morning. Here we're moving some stuff out. Cat stuff, you know, you have to get your priorities straight. There's just a shot of the door. See, they've padlocked it shut so nobody will break in and steal anything. There's the padlock. You can see here the door frame completely, totally charred. Just like that, all the way up. All the way to little wires hanging out. It used to say 1503 and have a little peephole, but no more. Over here you can see the fire looks like it's actually separated the door a little bit. You can see some daylight coming through the side. That's where the fire must have been breaking in that you saw on the other side. Completely charred. Over here they're starting to try to rewire. They seem to be having some difficulty though. They were here earlier working on it. We also found out here the reason the elevators aren't coming to this floor is because the doors are completely, totally welded shut from the heat. So they have to bash those out, then replace the doors. We're not sure when this hallway is going to be repaired, but we did hear it should only take 2 months before the whole thing is back to new. That I'm going to have to see to believe, however. We are walking out the front of the lobby to the courtyard. This is where they ran us across to get to safety, but all the windows were breaking out and glass was raining down. Something. Be able to see it, but there's some of the windows boarded up around 15, some more on 18. Come over here to the side. You can see the building's been charred all the way up to about I'd say the 28th floor maybe. Here's the street my apartment looks out on. This is what we look down on when we're sticking our heads out the window trying to breathe. Let me tell you, it looks quiet now, but it was swarming with cops and ambulances and fire trucks that night. I'm not sure what they're doing over here, but this little side street you see here, we also had a window that looked down on it. And where this crane is, there was a fire truck sending firemen up on cherry pickers, telling people not to jump, although I'm not sure why you had to tell them that. So somewhere in there, around the middle of the screen, is my apartment. So as you can see, I wasn't planning on jumping. Not really sure how well you can see it, but that first floor with all the windows boarded up, that's my floor. And little windows off there to the side, far right next to the sign, hanging on the side of the building. That's my apartment. Started right there, got to our front door, fortunately the fireman came and got it out. It was pretty bad on this side. You can see all the windows boarded up, and it made its way almost all the way across. Fortunately, it didn't get all the way across, or I might not be here telling you the story right now. So they estimate 2 months until everything's back to normal, but I'm just not so sure. Again, this is my street. Here's the building. Parking lot.
Heads up.
After the fire, taking a look at the progress out here in the hallway. Here, maybe a little hard to see, but some of the bubbling that happened on our door, which I hadn't noticed, but Megan just pointed out to me. See there. Lights on here. I guess they're doing some electrical work or something over here. It's pretty dark. When I came up the stairs and saw it that dark, I got a little concerned again. This is what it looked like when the fire actually happened. No lights, pitch black, pretty scary. There's the doorway open to the lady's apartment across the way. You can see it. She was also lucky she didn't have too much damage. This is a scary sight, I'm telling you. No lights on. That's just what it looked like. Actually, it's a lot brighter in here now than it was then. This is about 2 weeks later, and see, there's not much of a difference. Here's the door. We're working down there in the apartment where it all started, but we weren't allowed in here for the last week or so. Last 2 weeks, actually, because of asbestos contamination. So today's the first day we've been allowed up. Working over here, we'll go take a look. The apartment where it all started. They're doing a pretty good job of cleaning it up, getting it ready to go, I guess. Hallway. They said it'll be months before the elevators are going to come back up to this floor. This person's door looked like it underwent some more damage. I don't recall it being quite like that. But at least there's no asbestos, and our apartment's been released, so that's a big plus.